PlayStation has blessed video gamers with some incredible titles over the years, some that provide us with on-the-edge-of-your-seat gaming experiences, some that have given you the ability to play with your friends and just hang out and relax, and others that give you a captivating narrative that almost feel as if you're playing a book in video game form or playing a movie. In my opinion, it feels as if video games have become more and more immersive to where future generations of gamers will enjoy playing these games more than sitting and watching a movie. So in this video, I want to give a list of my top 5 PlayStation 4 games and break down why they made this list. If your game is not on this list, it is not because I thought it was bad or anything. I probably just haven't gotten around to playing it. So feel free to leave a comment on a game that I didn't mention in this list and I should have considered. With that out of the way, this is Earth Kingdom Gaming and here are my top 5 PlayStation 4 games. Personally, I would have moved The Last of Us Remastered farther up on this list had the game not been originally released on the PS3. Regardless, the game is phenomenal with award-winning narrative and excellent voice acting. This game has some of the best story elements in video game writing, with moments that have you on the edge of your seat with intense combat, to moments that have you nervous for the outcome of a conflict between two characters. I find myself replaying the story over and over every few months just to re-experience it again, and that is typically hard to find with most linear-style games. The compelling dynamic between Joel and Ellie provide an easy attachment to both of these characters, with Ellie being a free-spirited kid in a world full of despair and corruption, and Joel being a protective father figure for Ellie, having lost his daughter Sarah in the beginning of the game. These characters are what made this game praised by many, even in a typical apocalyptic world. Not to mention the music in this game is also excellent. Some of the best soundtracks I've ever heard, and recommend checking out the music even if you don't plan on playing the game. Overall, the game is easily ranked as one of the best on the system and well received by many. God of War is one of those games that has a reputation of being gruesome and deserving of its mature rating. However, with this new iteration, it definitely deviates away from its previous title's goriness and focuses more on the narrative. Don't get me wrong, it still has plenty of gory moments, however the dynamic between Kratos and Atreus is the real focal point of the game. The journey is to spread Atreus' mother's ashes on the highest peak in all the 9 realms, and you follow Kratos and Atreus on their quest to complete this task. The combat in this game is great, with Kratos now wielding the Leviathan axe as a gift from Atreus' mother, as well as the ability to command Atreus to shoot arrows from his bow. The combat has the player mixing the use of Kratos attacks with Atreus' arrows to make it truly feel like it's a journey involving both of them. There are some RPG elements in this game as well, such as upgrading skills in the skill tree, completing some side quests, and upgrading your gear to fight higher level enemies. The game is heavily rooted in Norse mythology now instead of the Greek pantheon, which is a breath of fresh air for the series. Also, the voice acting from Christopher Judge and Sonny Soljic is phenomenal, as well as the mocap. I highly recommend playing this game or even just watching someone play this game, as the story is extremely captivating and has kept me personally from putting the controller down. Uncharted is one of my favorite video game series ever, as I'm sure it is for most PlayStation users. The 4th installment in the mainline series is one of my favorite iterations of Nathan Drake's character, and earns itself the number 3 spot on this list. The graphics on this game are amazing, and has absolutely stunning visuals. The game truly feels like you're playing a movie, where there's tons of action and cutscenes that drive the story forward. There's really not a looting mechanic besides hunting treasures for the hardcore trophy hunting players. For the casual players though, it is much more an encapsulating narrative that keeps you on the edge of your seat, and for non-gamers it's an excellent game to watch someone play. The combat in this game keeps the player engaged with epic shootouts and moments that have you wondering, how is Nathan Drake going to make it out of this? Following the same formula from the previous iterations of the Uncharted series, this game stays true to its roots with high-paced action and an excellent story. This game follows a linear-style narrative that is easily replayable due to how addicting the gameplay is and accompanied by the story. Each chapter of this game feels like a chapter pulled out of a book and told in a playable format. Uncharted 4 is one of those games that pulls you into the story and has you sink hours upon hours until you see the story play out. It's a highly recommendable game, as well as the collection that is also available on the PS4. The games don't necessarily have to be played in order either. It's a series that should be played through, but if you haven't played any of the previous titles, then Uncharted 4 is not a bad place to start. Uncharted has always been a beloved game series of mine, and I have to hope we will see a continuation of this franchise. Although for now, this is the last installment and definitely one worth playing. Spider-Man is an absolutely fantastic game that I think everybody should play, regardless if you're a Marvel fan or not. The story of this game is absolutely incredible and easily recommendable for that alone. However, we haven't even mentioned that the gameplay mechanics are where I think the game truly shines. The setting of this game takes place in Manhattan, a complete open world for you to explore by swinging from building to building. There are plenty of collectibles for you to collect while exploring this detailed world, not to mention the swinging mechanic alone is worth just purchasing the game. The story is pretty quick compared to other games, probably taking the average player 15 to 20 hours to complete, if that is your primary objective. Even after completion of the storyline, the combat and swinging mechanics still make this game fun to traverse through and beat up bad guys. Visually, this game is amazing. The character animations look lifelike, and the attention to detail on things like Spider-Man suits are incredible. This game has a ton of content for the price, and easily placed on a lot of players' top lists for everything this game has to offer. I shouldn't have to say too much on this one, because it's pretty much a no-brainer that if you own a PS4, you need to play this game. Some honorable mentions that didn't quite make my top 5 PS4 games are The Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted The Lost Legacy, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Starting with The Last of Us Part 2, although this game is visually pleasing, easily the best graphics on the PlayStation 4 hardware, the story was just not as captivating as the first game, and I couldn't justify ranking it above the first iteration of the series. If you want my in-depth review of this game, you can check it out in the link in the description. For Uncharted The Lost Legacy, this game is really great. It has a great storyline and visuals to complement it. However, if you're a fan of the Uncharted series and Nathan Drake's character, then this game doesn't give the same feeling as playing Uncharted 1 through 4. Chloe Frazer is an excellent lead, and the game is definitely worth picking up, but I couldn't justify ranking it compared to Uncharted 4 simply because of the missing Nathan Drake and Sully elements. Lastly, let's talk about Horizon Zero Dawn. This game is by no means a bad game either. The world building in this game is absolutely incredible, along with a complete open world for you to explore. This game would have made my list, but I had to be picky with my top games. There are way too many great games such as Borderlands 3, Dreams, and so many more. This is an excellent open world RPG style game, and if you're a fan of that genre, then this is definitely a game worth picking up. Since we're on the topic of honor, let's go ahead and talk about my number one PlayStation game, and that has to be Ghost of Tsushima. This game has only been released for a few months now, and I cannot stress enough how good this game is. This is the one game that I've spent countless hours into and completed within a week. No other game entered my PlayStation console for at least 2 weeks after purchasing this game. Let's talk about some of the details as to why this game is my top game on this console. It has incredible visual qualities, but this game extends that capability further. The contrast between colors really make this game visually pleasing, not to mention the music to complement the environment. Riding your horse from quest to quest and exploring the island of Tsushima makes the player feel as if they're actually in Japan. The combat is pretty much perfect. The sword fighting is fluid, and the use of different stances to better defeat different opponents keeps the player engaged. Also, the use of the bow for long-range fighting and the standoffs provide the player with more methods to take down enemy camps. Not to mention that later in the game, Jin unlocks various ghost weapons that aid the player in combat, and can also be used to stealthily defeat the Mongols. The progression system is also very well planned, with not letting the player have access to too many abilities early in the game. PlayStation has had some phenomenal games released on this generation, and as we approach the next generation, I'm eager to see what's in store for us. I know that the Ratchet & Clank game looks amazing, Spider-Man Miles Morales obviously, and Kena Bridge of Spirits. This is an exciting time to be a gamer, and I hope all of you are looking forward to the next generation as much as I am. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and feel free to leave your top 5 PlayStation 4 games in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and click the bell for notifications. That way you'll know when my next video will be up. I will see you all in the next video.